All right, guys, got another boatload of fragrances launching soon, and I'm going to dig into them coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian, always talking to you about new releases, new fragrances from the designer's world, and of course the niche world as well. And we've got a ton of them here that have been announced. I'm looking forward to these fragrances, and let me know what you're looking forward to as well. Add a comment below if any of these sound great to you, the fragrances I'm going to talk to you about, or anything that you've heard that's launching soon. So the first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of LAROCHE, and they have a new flanker. Remember, they launched this about 3 years ago? Was it 4 years ago? This is DRAKKAR Intense. Love it. But there's a new flanker in this series called DRAKKAR BLEU. So they're going into the blue direction. It comes with this beautiful blue juice color. This is nice and ambery orange. And this features notes of fir balsam, apples, moss, patchouli, lavender, sage, violet leaves, spearmint, and bergamot. So I guess it's going into more of an ozonic fresh direction, but there's the fir balsam in here, and there's also the fruity notes of apples. We'll see what it's all about. But if you don't know DRAKKAR Intense, please check it out. It's a great, great fragrance. It's a modernized take on a vintage style OG DRAKKAR or DRAKKAR Noir. And I highly recommend that. And I'm looking forward to DRAKKAR BLEU. But let's move on to Essential Parfums. It's Velvet Iris. If you caught my video with Geraldine of Essential Parfums, this was announced during Essence earlier this year, and I got to smell it. And I shot a video while I was in Paris with Geraldine just after Paris Perfume Week. And you know, it's Velvet Iris, and if you caught the video, she doesn't like gourmand or sweet or powdery fragrances. So she said she made her kind of iris fragrance. It does lean green, and for me it wasn't that sweet, but I've only smelled it twice, once at Essence and once at during the video I shot. But it does feature notes of Labdanum, Saffiano, Sandalwood, Galbanum, Mastic, Orris, Bushu, Curcuma leaves, and pink pepper. And this is created by Dominique Ropion. She creates one fragrance with a different perfumer, kind of like a budget take on Frederic Malle. And so this is the latest release, but go catch that video because she's also announcing some Extrait de Parfum fragrances that she's launching, which I'm not mentioning here because Velvet Iris is already launched, I believe, selling at her store, and it should make a worldwide debut very soon if it hasn't by the time this video airs. But there's two extracts, one of the musk and also the bergamot coming, and a few other fragrances that she talks about. If you're curious, go check that video out. But the next fragrance I'm talking about is from the house of MICALLEF. This is Secrets of Love Royal Blue, and it does have a date on there, 2025, so this is an updated version most likely. I'm unfamiliar with this fragrance in its original form, but it does looks like it's going to lean marine. But I'm curious because the bottle is gorgeous. As usual, this collection, the bottles are beautiful, and I want to get my nose on this one because as usual, the bottles draw me in. So this one features notes of ambergris, oud, patchouli, sandalwood, rosemary, cinnamon, geranium, coconut milk, figs, lemons, marine notes. Let me know if you're familiar with this series and this fragrance. Is this a redo or an update? A 2025 edition, it says. If you've gotten your nose on the previous edition, let us know. Add a comment below. So it seems like there's going to be several 2025 editions, and I'm kind of starting to wonder why these brands are doing this. So there's a new Creed ABSOLU AVENTUS 2025. There's another fragrance here, a 2025 edition. So basically that they're tweaking the fragrance a little bit and giving us a new version so that we need to, buy the fragrances and the brands make money. Is that what's going on with the brands nowadays? So Creed is launching ABSOLU AVENTUS 2025, and I believe the original came out 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Do you guys like this fragrance? So this is a 2025 edition of Creed ABSOLU, and it's a flanker of the original Creed, I believe. I'm sorry, the original AVENTUS. I haven't really compared the fragrances, so don't quote me on that, but I believe it's a more of a luxury take on the original. But this version features notes of pineapple, grapefruit, black currant, bergamot, lemons, pink pepper, patchouli, vetiver, cardamom, ginger, and cinnamon. Lots of stuff going on in here. This is their most popular fragrance, so that's why they're milking it with this fragrance, and probably they'll continue doing that. I'm always, interested in checking it out and seeing what it's all about. But let me know if you've sampled the previous edition of ABSOLU AVENTUS, and let me know if you're looking forward to this version. Moving over to the Gucci house, this is Gucci FLORA Gorgeous Gardenia Intense. Now, this is a kind of an interesting that I put these two brands back to back. It was not intentional. Creed was purchased by Kering, Gucci's fashion is owned by Kering. Gucci's perfumes are, I think, still owned by Coty. And I think Kering wants to take it on. So I don't know which conglomerate is launching this fragrance, probably Coty. But I kind of like the Gardenia fragrance in this gorgeous series, and I'm looking forward to the Intense. It's featuring Gardenia, Hedione, Mandarin, Sandalwood. And some of you have been asking me for a Gardenia video. Let me know if you're interested in that. I'd like to potentially do it. Gardenias were one of my favorite, I should say not one of my favorite flowers, but my mom's. My mom loves gardenias, and my dad used to give her gardenias all the time. In fact, I was visiting my mom recently, came across a really big bush of gardenias baking under the sun, so we picked a couple. Just gorgeous smelling. I do like gorgeous gardenia in its original form, and I want to try the Gardenia Intense now as well. But moving on to the house of ARAMIS, they've just announced a new fragrance, and it's utilizing the name of a fragrance that already exists under Estee Lauder. This is ARAMIS Intuition. It's an aromatic fougere, and that's the only info we have on this fragrance. But I looked up Intuition by Estee Lauder. It was an older fragrance, obviously, and it's been discontinued. I can't find any bottles anywhere, which is a bummer. I wanted to have a bottle because they are naming this fragrance with an older name that already existed. So I don't know. To me, Intuition sounds a bit like it's a feminine fragrance because I'm familiar with Intuition as a fragrance. So I was like quite not shocked, but surprised that ARAMIS, which is under Estee Lauder, would take the name of an older feminine fragrance and make a masculine fragrance out of it under ARAMIS and, create an aromatic fougere. I have no idea what the notes breakdown is. And again, ARAMIS is under Estee Lauder. I thought also Estee Lauder got rid of ARAMIS, but they're starting a new series. I love ARAMIS's classic fragrances. I'm looking forward to this, but most likely this is a very modern aromatic fougere, but let's see what they do with it. All right, next up, going to the house of AEDES de VENUSTAS. They have a new fragrance launching called SUENO Latino, created by Gabriela Chelariu. Gabriela Chelariu does a lot of KLE fragrances, so they've teamed up with AEDES de VENUSTAS. And I've spoken about Café Tabac on the channel, created by Bertrand de Chafour. Now, I haven't really dug into their fragrances that after they rebranded, because the brand had different bottles, and they actually were sold at Barney's for a while. Barney's carried the line. And of course, Barney's doesn't exist anymore. They completely went out of business everywhere. Although I saw them in Tokyo for some strange reason, they still exist there. But I'm curious about this one. It's incense, mango, fig, gaiac, patchouli, suede, pink pepper. There's sandalwood, amber, musk, bergamot, chili, and davana. It seems like the last fragrance, Café Tabac, which I actually really enjoy. They pile on the notes breakdown with their fragrances. And let's see what Gabriela Chelariu does with this fragrance, because I know she does a lot of gourmands for KLE. So I'm curious to smell this one. But moving over to Hedione, we've got a new fragrance called Isola. It's a very green, fresh fragrance featuring white tea, cassis, musk, lavender, neroli, tonka, magnolia, lemons, blood orange, patchouli, bergamot, mandarin, jasmine, vetiver, and yuzu. It sounds like a very fresh fragrance. It sounds very sparkling, effervescent and green. And of course, tea and citruses work wonderfully together, create this really invigorating freshness, but also cozy and comfy at the same time. So I like the idea of this. And usually Hedione fragrances are a bit on the edgier side. This one seems very mass appealing. Now let's move over to Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc's Explorer Extreme is launching very soon, created by Antoine Maisondieu and also Jordi Fernandez. And this is a long-standing series, and it features notes of bergamot, patchouli, vetiver, leather, and amber. Let's see what direction they're going to take the fragrance in. I like the fragrance. I like the original fragrance, actually, but I haven't kept up with the line. But I'm curious to see what they do with this one. It sounds like they're taking it into more of a darker, leatherier direction, of course. But the previous edition, I think I enjoyed. I have a bottle of it. All right, next up, we got a new fragrance from the house of ARAMIS. It's called Tropical, created by Rodrigo Flores Rue. Remember, I've been a fan of their last launch. It was a trio of fragrances, and there was the almond suede. I love that one. There was also the olive and fig one, a Grove at the Sea, I believe. And then there was Rococo, Venice Rococo. But, this almond suede is amazing. Absolutely love it. But let's see how tropical it is. I actually smelled it on somebody that was wearing it recently. but I didn't really smell what the fragrance was all about. But it's frangipani, guava, jasmine, sambac, ginger, guava blossom, champaca, vanilla absolute, mahogany, amber, and lime. Sounds fun. Tropical fragrances are always fun. They put me in a vacation mode. I don't usually travel to tropical destinations like islands and those kind of places, but for some strange reason, they kind of transport me to that kind of a setting. So this one sounds like it's going to do that as well. So guess what? Another flanker from Hugo Boss's Boss Bottled collection. This is Boss Bottled Beyond. It's leather, ginger, and woods. Is this created by Annick Menardo and Suzy Lahele? We shall see, because the citrus one was not. It was for Maniche perfumers, but this seems like it's more of one of their stronger scents, and this seems going really intense with the leather, but also zingy, spicy, and of course woody in the dry down. I really enjoy what Hugo Boss is doing lately with their fragrances, so I want to get my nose on this one as well, because I like what they're doing with the fragrances. There's some really great designer offerings for men. But the next fragrance, I never bought the original. Now they have an eau de parfum launching. This is it's actually Issey Miyake's Le Sel d'Issey eau de parfum edition. I smelled the original. It was a bit too fishy on skin. I stayed away from it. And this one seems like it's going to go in that direction as well. It's seaweed, salt, incense, cedarwood, and amber. Yeah. Are you guys a fan? Let me know if you're a fan of Le Sel d'Issey. Like I said, it gets a bit too seaweedy for me, and not so interested in it. But this next fragrance also features salty notes. It's the new Jean Paul Gaultier Divine Elixir, and it features salt, tuberose, and tonka beans. 3 notes only. What the Jean Paul Gaultier house is doing with tonka is they're taking it into the gourmand direction. This is a floral tonka with saltiness. So I think the salt will provide a bit of a marine edge, or, you know, sea breezy kind of an effect, but not necessarily going extremely fishy. I think the Issey Miyake is much more fishy because they have that seaweed note, but this one is just salt. So I like salt in fragrances, but I'm uncertain what this one's all about. I never really checked out the original, the OG Divine. If you're a fan of it and you enjoy that fragrance, let us know. Put a comment down below. But this one, again, it's salty. It's more of an elixir, so more potent. Most likely it's created by Canton Biche. Did he make a really intense version of it? Of course, Le Male here is super potent. I really enjoy its sweetness and ambery touches, but let's see what Divine Elixir is all about. And then we've got Rabanne's Invictus Aqua 2025. So this is the third fragrance that has the 2025 date on it. So is this a new thing now? We're going to constantly get new versions of existing fragrances just so the brands can make more money. So what are they doing different to the fragrance that they're putting the date or the year that it's launched? So I never was a fan of the Invictus series, but people were like really hyping the original Aqua that came out in the late 2010s. And I believe last year there was another new Aqua that came out, or maybe this is even the 4th or 5th Aqua that they've done. But it's sea notes, grapefruit, and amber wood. Are you a fan? Did you check out last year's? Have you checked out the OG, the one that came out, the very first one? Let us know, add a comment below. But the next fragrance, going to the house of Kenzo, it's Low Pure. This one features notes of aquazone, lavender, lemons, mandarin, sandalwood, and musk. So this one seems like it's going into the marine direction again, but with aromatics and citruses as well, with musk and woods into dry down. Kenzo is an iffy house for me. I like some of their fragrances, like this next one. It's a rebottling of their OG fragrance, and it's the 2025 edition once again. But I can understand this one. They don't release a new version every year. This one, I think they're just moving it into a more uniform bottle. Of course, the original is right here. And now we're going to find it in a brand spanking new bottle. It's originally created by Olivier Cresp, I think like 1996, somewhere around there. And it's a spicy, woody, ambery fragrance. It's gaiac, amber, cinnamon, benzoin, mate. There's carnation, sandalwood, vetiver, cedar, cardamom. A lot of those notes were being used back then. This kind of warm, spicy notes like carnations in here, which is, I find it to be a very vintage note. The cinnamon, and so it warms up the fragrance. So let's see what they do with the 2025 edition. Next, going to the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur, it's Histoire d'Oranger Extreme. Now, this original was really, really great. It's a orange blossom citrus fragrance, and now they've got an extreme version, so it's a flanker to the OG. It's created by Marie Salamagna. It's neroli, orange blossom, pink pepper, cedar, and musk. So they've intensified the version. I think the OG is eau de toilette, or it could be eau de parfum. So if that's eau de parfum, then this one's going to be more of a parfum concentration. Have you guys gotten your nose on this one? I enjoy the creations of L'Artisan, but I think lately they're not doing as well as I'd like them to. So let's see what Fougere has done with this, more intense flanker of the original Histoire d'Oranger. If you're a fan of the OG, let us know, add a comment below. And then finally, we've got 3 fragrances created by the house of Maison Violet, launching as a trio. I believe inspirations by each of the owners of the house. I've done several videos with one of the owners. If you search my channel, you can find those videos. It's been a while since I've spoken about the brand though, but now they're launching 3 fragrances inspired by each of the guys behind the brand. First one is California Blossom, created by Nathalie Lorson. Neroli, Orange Blossom, Sweet Orange, Petitgrain, Ylang Ylang, Iris, and White Musk. Then we've got another member of the brand. It's Rivage, and this is also created by Nathalie Lorson. It's Lavender, Marine Notes, Iris, Sandalwood, Violet Leaves, Mandarin, Cardamom, Pepper, and Mint. And then finally, the third one is called Musc Angelique. It's created by Patrice Revillard. It's Angelica Root, White Musk, Pepper, Iris, vetiver, and incense. Let me know if you're a fan of the house. I've actually had Anthony. I think Anthony is the one that inspired California. He's French, but I think he has family from California. So I think that's his inspiration. And he's come here. We've shot video. We've also done Zoom videos during pandemic. And I really enjoy the line. But recently they changed their bottles. So they're more like handheld holdable, a little bit more modern compared to the OG bottles. But I'm curious to sample these. If you've gotten your nose on them, do let us know. Add a comment below. And that's pretty much it. 20 fragrances in this portion. I've got a couple more in the bonus section. Stay tuned for those. But let me know which of the fragrances you're most excited about. Add a comment below. And if there's anything I haven't spoken about, either in today's video or in a past video, which fragrances are you excited about mostly? Add a comment below so we can all find out. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And last but not least, it looks like BMW is finally getting into the fragrance game. I'm sure they've been wanting to do it for a while. There are other cars out there that make, fragrances. Of course, the most famous one is Mercedes-Benz. Of course, there's also Bentley. So there's a lot of cars out there doing fragrances. But BMW is launching 2 fragrances. One's called Ambergris. The other one's called Bergamot. Obviously, you can tell what they're inspired by. The first one, Ambergris, featuring notes of bergamot, geranium, clary sage, cardamom, vanilla, vetiver, ambroxan, and sandalwood. Do you guys like fragrances created by car brands or automotive brands? Let me know. Add a comment below. If you have a favorite car brand or automotive brand fragrance, what is it? One of my favorites is Bentley for Men Intense. Absolutely love it. Love that fragrance. Still do enjoy it. I don't wear it much anymore, but I think it's one of the best inexpensive budget fragrances you can buy. I love the way it smells. It's created by Nathalie Lorson. It's one of my favorite cheapies. So let me know if you have a favorite automotive brand fragrance and add a comment below so we can find out. But the next BMW fragrance is called Bergamot. So inspired or, utilizing bergamot note as a prominent note, but this one features notes of bergamot, petitgrain, mandarin, pink pepper, helvetilide, lavender, ambroxan, and anth amber. So this one's chock full of synthetic notes, but most likely it's a freshie, a spicy with ambery dry down and things like that. So I'm curious to get my nose on these 2 fragrances and see what it's all about. The bottles are pretty interesting looking as well. What are your thoughts? And again, don't forget to put a comment down below and let me know. Give me a list of your favorite automotive brand fragrances. There's Mercedes-Benz Black Extreme also. I love that one. And I think they just came out with Wait, no, Mercedes-Benz Black, I believe, is the one with the vanilla. I think there's Mercedes-Benz Extreme, but I think there's a new flanker to the one that's vanilla. I think there's an eau de parfum version of it now that was just announced, and I'm curious to see what they've done with that because the OG is eau de toilette, I think, which is very, very popular also. Somewhat of a cheapie. I think it's selling around $50 or so. But I'm curious to get my nose on these, and I'll report back to you guys as soon as I can. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye-bye.